at Samia, desperately. "We have nowhere else to go," she says. "I know," says Samia. "I know that. I can take Stella. But you and the boy and the dog, I'm sorry. You'll have to find somewhere else." Lucy feels Stella push against her leg. A shiver of unease run through her small body. "I want to stay with you," she whispers to Lucy. "I don't want to stay without you." Lucy crouches down and takes Stella's hands. Stella's eyes are green like her father's. Her dark hair is streaked hazel blonde, her face tanned dark brown from the long, hot summer. She is a beautiful child. People stop Lucy on the street sometimes to tell her so, with a soft gasp. "Baby," she says, "you'll be dry here. You can have a shower. Meme will read you a story." Samia nods. "I'll read you the one you like," she says, "about the moon." Stella presses herself tighter against Lucy. Lucy feels her patience ebbing. She would give anything to be allowed to sleep in Meme's bed, to be read the book about the moon, to shower and slip into clean pajamas. "Just one night, baby. I'll be here first thing tomorrow to collect you, okay?" She feels the flutter of Stella's head nodding against her shoulder, the intake of her breath against tears. "Okay, Mama," says Stella, and Lucy bundles her into Samia's flat before either of them can change their mind. Then it is just her and Marco, and the dog, yoga mats rolled up on their backs, heading into the heavy rain, into the darkening night, with nowhere to go. For a while they take shelter beneath the flyover. The constant fizz of car tires over hot, wet tarmac is deafening. The rain keeps falling. Marco has the dog held in his lap, his face pressed against the dog's back. He looks up at Lucy. "Why is our life so shit?" he asks. "You know why our life is shit," she snaps. "But why can't you do something about it?" "I'm trying," she says. "No, you're not. You're letting us go under." "I am trying," she hisses, fixing him with a furious gaze, "every single minute of every single day." He looks at her doubtfully. He is too clever and knows her too well. She sighs. "I'll get my fiddle back tomorrow. I can start making money again." "How are you going to pay for the repairs?" He narrows his eyes at her. "I'll find a way." "What way?" "I don't know, all right? I don't know. Something will come up. It always does." She turns from her son then and stares into the parallel lines of headlights burning towards her. A huge cannon of thunder explodes overhead. The sky lights up again. The rain becomes, if it is possible, even heavier. She pulls her battered smartphone from the outside pocket of her rucksack, turns it on. She sees that she has 8% battery charge left and is about to switch it off again when she notices her phone has sent her a notification from her calendar. It's been there for weeks now, but she can't bring herself to cancel it. It says, simply, "The baby is 25.
Chapter 3. My name, like my father's name, is Henry. This duplication was the cause of occasional confusion. But as my mother called my father Darling, and my sister called him Daddy, and pretty much everyone else called him Mr. Lamb or Sir, we got by. My father was the sole beneficiary of his own father's fortunes, made from slot machines. I never knew my grandfather. He was very old when my dad was born, but he was from Blackpool and his name was Harry. My father never worked a day in his life, just sat around waiting for Harry to die so that he could be rich in his own right. He bought our house on Cheyne Walk in Chelsea the very same day he got his hands on the money. He'd been house hunting during Harry's dying days, had his eye on the place for a few weeks, was terrified that someone else was going to put an offer in on it before he could claim his inheritance. The house was empty when he bought it. and he spent years and thousands filling it with what he used to call objects. Moose heads looming off panelled walls, hunting swords hanging crossed above doorways, mahogany thrones with barley twist backs, a medieval-style banqueting table for 16, replete with scars and wormholes, cabinets full of pistols and bullwhips, a 20-foot tapestry, sinister oil portraits of other people's ancestors, reams of gold-blocked, leather-bound books that no one would ever read, and a full-size cannon in the front garden. There were no comfortable chairs in our house, no cosy corners. Everything was wood and leather and metal and glass. Everything was hard, especially my father. He lifted weights in our basement and drank Guinness from his own private keg in his own private bar. He wore £800 handmade suits from Mayfair that barely accommodated his muscles and his girth. He had hair the colour of old pennies and raw-looking hands with tight red knuckles. He drove a Jaguar. He played golf, although he hated it because he wasn't designed to swing a golf club. He was too solid, too unyielding. He went on shoots at the weekends, disappeared on Saturday morning wearing a tight-fitted tweed jacket with a boot full of guns, and came home on Sunday evening with a brace of wood pigeons in an icebox. Once, when I was about 5, he brought home an English bulldog he'd bought from a man on the street using the mint-fresh £50 notes he kept rolled up in his jacket pocket. He said it reminded him of himself. Then it shat on an antique rug, and he got rid of it. My mother was a rare beauty. Not my words, my father's. Your mother is a rare beauty. She was half German, half Turkish. Her name was Martina. She was 12 years younger than my dad, and back then, before they came, she was a style icon. She would put on a pair of dark sunglasses and take herself off to Sloane Street to spend my father's money on bright silk scarves and gold-encased lipsticks and intense French perfume, and she would be photographed sometimes, her wrists encircled with bag handles, and put in the posh papers. They called her a socialite. She wasn't really. She went to glamorous parties and wore beautiful clothes, but when she was at home, she was just our mum. Not the best mum, but not the worst, and certainly a relatively soft spot in our big, masculine, machete-adorned Chelsea mansion. She'd once had a job, for a year or so, introducing important fashion people to each other, or at least that was my impression. She had little silver business cards in her purse, printed with the words, Martina Lamb Associates, in hot pink. She had an office on the King's Road,